Welcome to the Coach's Corner. That's the name of our show, right, Coach?
Yes, that's it. Coach's Corner. You made it up.
Yeah, I made it up. Coach's Corner. Coach Greg Herrick, one of California's all-time Hall of Fame basketball coaches. You'll hear more about Coach Herrick in a few minutes. And I'm your business coach. Why I'm doing a sports show? Because I love it, I eat it, I breathe it. My whole life is about, well, not my whole life, but I love sports, just like you do, Coach.
Well, sports has been a big part of my life since I was about 5 years old. My dad introduced me to a lot of things when I was young, and I introduced them to my kids, and it just keeps on rolling.
And we're live on Facebook. You can go to Facebook, KHTS AM 1220. You can see what our handsome faces look like. And also, part of our show, starting in exactly 5 seconds, Justin, do you ever give your last name? Is your last name ever part of the show?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Powell.
Justin Powell.
I thought you were like Madonna or something.
No, he's the sports director. He's the sports director at KHTS AM 1220. Also, we have a great app. If you go to your iPhone or Droid, download the app. You can listen to the show at lunch or in your car. And it's truly one of the best radio apps in the country, bar none. Just go to the App Store, AM 1220, KHTS AM 1220. You can also go on hometownstation.com, like several of our friends are listening now, right? Harry,
a lot
Phil, Cindy.
And a band of renown.
And a band of renown. So Kyle Jennings is here. Now, what's your
almost?
What's
Jellings.
Jellings?
Jellings.
Like
Jello,
like
Jello with
Jennings.
Yeah,
like chilling.
Yeah,
you're chilling with Jellings.
Yeah, sure.
I think chilling with Jellings.
What's your contribution? What are you going to do in this?
You told me to sit down.
All right, stop it. Be quiet. All right, let's get the show started with a little controversy. Also coming up, the backstory at about 1:35. We're going to have a famous athlete. You know who he is.
And it's not me?
No.
Oh,
famous athlete, and we're talking about his backstory. And I think you're going to like it. It's very interesting. Went to Silmar High School. Anyway, I don't want to give it away. 1:35. Keep tuning in. Our show brought to you by Marty's Flooring. Transform your home or your business. Anyway, Marty's Flooring been in business for over 30 years. You'll hear more about Marty's Flooring. Douglas Furniture also is bringing our show to you. Douglas Furniture, a showroom stuffed with furniture styles ranging from vintage, country, French to controversy. No, contemporary.
Quit smoking, Coach.
Yeah, contemporary. And, of course, Noah's Dental, my dentist. And I'm telling you, Dr. Kim, she's the best. If you're looking for a new dentist, Dr. Kim at Noah's Dental. I'm not lying to you. I have dental phobia, Coach.
So do I.
You do too?
Yes, I do.
And she has solved my issues. So let's get to it. So, Justin, you're a young man.
What's up?
We're old enough to be your father, maybe even your grandfather. But so Steve Kerr of your favorite team, is that your favorite team, the Golden State Warriors?
Absolutely not.
Really? What's your favorite team?
I'm a Lakers apologist.
Sorry, son.
He's objective. He's the KHTS sports director. He's objective. He has no. He doesn't. Yeah, he's objective.
Facts.
He reports the
At
facts.
least he's honest.
My favorite team is the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, all right. You're a good one to start with. So Steve Kerr sits his 4 best players, really? Because they're tired. They need a rest. Come on, Justin.
These aren't new revelations, though. I mean, the Spurs do that with Greg Popovich. Tyronn Lue does that with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving.
It sends a message, young man. It sends a message.
I know the message it sends. It's not a great message. It sends the message that they don't really care about.
This is my problem with that, Coach. As a parent, taking your child to an NBA game or an NFL game, I think one of the big things in my life as a small child was when my dad took me to see the San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders. And I think I got really enamored with professional sports as a young person, and it was a big event. I remember, I can tell you right now, I'm 64 years old. I can tell you my dad used to make ham and cheese sandwiches in a bag. We used to park in the guy's driveway for $10 and go to these games. John Brody, Hugh McElhaney for the 49ers. Those are old school players. But Kenny Stabler for the Raiders. Those were my favorite guys. Those are the guys that inspired me to get into my career. So what I'm telling you is these young people today, don't get the same opportunity. They buy a ticket to see the Spurs play the Golden State Warriors in San Antonio, where it's, the biggest game of the year because they're the 2 best teams in the NBA, and they don't get to see the Warriors play, and actually 2 Spurs didn't play because they were hurt or injured. But nonetheless, you pay $100 for anybody that's ever bought an NBA seat.
Try $300.
Yeah, you're paying a lot of money, and you reward your kid. Let's say he graduated number 1 in his class. You get to go to an NBA game, and you get to see the Looney from the UCLA, the rookie. You get to see JaVale McGee, who's barely on the team. Shaqtin' a fool.
No, easy.
And
it hurt some feelings.
And I'm a Warriors fan, but those guys can't play at the level that these guys at SAT play. And I think it's a travesty to the young fans. How are you going to build up young fans today when you go to the game and then half of them don't play?
Man, you hit all the high points. Kyle, you got something to say.
So the story that I heard from it was a total plant story by can I say ESPN? It was ESPN. They totally planted a story in the middle of it where they made a good story out of something that was really terrible, where there was a kid that was from Mexico, and his dad paid, I think, $300 because he loved the Golden State Warriors. So he drove 7 hours because that was the closest. San Antonio is the closest stadium to him. They drive 7 hours. They pay $300 for tickets, and they don't even see them play. Now, what they ended up doing was they brought him to the locker room and stuff, which is great. But there's still those people that didn't have to drive 7 hours that, they paid $200 for a ticket, and parents, spend. My dad, we talked about this actually, me and Justin, about this and about how people work really hard to go see their teams play, and this is totally just totally disregarding the fans, and it's totally disregarding. It's watering down the regular season if you're just a basketball fan too. They just don't like playing in the regular season either.
Did you see how many kids in the? I watched the game. I was in Oakland actually over the weekend. I watched the game at my mother's house, and we were all excited for the game. We planned everything around the game to just watch it. Our dinner plans were adjusted so we could watch the game. And I'm watching the game. Did you see how many Curry jerseys were in the crowd?
I mean, it has the top selling jersey, or top 5 at least.
And and they showed a few, 9-year-old, 10-year-old kids with looks on their face like they were so disappointed that they didn't get to see their guys play. I mean, I was so disappointed in the NBA that they would allow that to happen. And, they like Justin was saying, well, Spurs used to do it. I don't think it makes it right that, somebody has done that before. But I just thought it just discredited the whole league, and young fans are going to get discouraged, and they're going to go in another direction.
All right, let's move on. I think we all agree. So that'll be the only time all 4 of us agree on anything. All right, so LeVar, what's his name? Lorenzo Ball's dad, LeVar, right?
LeVar Ball, yeah.
LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
So,
and there's 50 Ball brothers, apparently.
Right.
And all of them score 100 points a game.
So stay with me. So there's 2 or 3 issues. One, he comes up with his own logo. I mixed feelings there, so I want to draw you guys out. So he comes up with a cool logo, the 3 balls, and he says that his son, Lonzo Ball. Well, you
and
guys
his
are
brother Mello. You got to get these.
I'm
names
a football
right.
guy. Is it football season yet? I can talk about football.
Well, then be quiet and let us talk about basketball.
Okay, so here's the thing is Nike would give his kid a heck of a lot more money than his dad's going to give him with his logo, and his dad's running his mouth. So isn't he putting Coach a tremendous amount of pressure on? Your son was All-State. Your son was all-everything, All-American.
3 times.
Yeah. Did you put that kind of pressure on your son?
No, I didn't. And, I let my kids pursue whatever they wanted to pursue. And they asked me about, sometimes somebody said, did you do anything special? I said, I let my kids' coaches coach them. And when they needed extra training, I got them extra training from another coach. I knew enough about sports to get my own kids coached by somebody that knew what they were talking about, not just me. My kids played a little basketball when they were younger, but I let their coaches coach them. And if their careers were going to go where these kids' careers going, so be it. But I think you got to let go. I think Mr. Ball is trying to make a big deal about his kids' skills. They're very good. They're very good. His sons are great, but they might have been great anyway.
You think so, Coach? Do you think that he's putting undue pressure on him?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So why though? Like, what's any different? So he's been probably
he's a doting. Look, I'm a doting grandfather. I was a doting father too. But like the coach, when my kid was all county football in Thousand Oaks. I stood in. He was also a baseball player. Like Coach, I stood in center field. I stayed away. I let the other coaches coach. If he needed expertise, I hired him coaches. I did not put that kind of pressure on him. And here's the March Madness coming up, Kyle. And what if what's his name?
Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo Ball.
What if
Just say Ball from now on.
You should write that down.
Well, what?
The oldest Ball son. How about that?
What if he
Ball
doesn't?
in.
What if he doesn't play up to anybody's expectations? What now? His dad's created so much PR, so much this, so much that. What happens? What happens in the draft, Justin? What do you think's going to happen, Kyle and Justin?
Well, first of all, just to play devil's advocate, you can argue that what he's doing is actually taking the pressure off of his sons, because he is putting the spotlight and attention on him and the brand that he's trying to build for them. And he's also saying things like, UCLA is exploiting my children. Why can't I do the same thing to build their brand and make money for them as best I can? So from that standpoint, he has a certain point where people are talking about him, and the pressure kind of is off of Lonzo right now. They have a good team. They're probably going to make a deep postseason run, and he's still going to be a lottery pick anyway. So he makes headlines by saying things like Lonzo's better than Steph Curry is already, and why can't they be like Michael Jordan, be as good as Michael Jordan, all those kind of things. But the kids don't talk that much. Now, the youngest, LaMelo, because he's the baby of the family, and he looks like he has maybe more talent than the rest of them. He talks more than.
Is that the one that shot 92 points?
Yeah.
That kid, I saw him the other night. That kid looks like he's the real deal.
But at the same time, watching him play a little bit from what I've seen, he holds on to the ball a lot.
He takes every shot.
He takes
it's
every
92 points.
Shot.
Yeah, you gotta.
They set him up for every shot. I saw tape of the game that he scored 92 points. There was guys standing wide open under the basket. He wouldn't throw it to him. So I don't know if that's good for it either. But let me give you an example of what you talked about, pressure. And it's close to home to me. My son was the all-time leading passer in the history of high school football in California.
What high school?
Valencia High School. And he was closing in on be the first player ever to throw for over 10,000 yards. And the Signal, the local paper, the Santa Clarita Signal, used to publish how close he was to the mark. Every Thursday, it used to say, okay, this is where he is. This is the record. And people used to ask me all the time, man, that's a lot of pressure on a kid, to get the record. And I said, I don't think Michael even deals with pressure. He just plays football. And the night he broke the record, I was on the sidelines. And what happened was, they brought me over. They grabbed me like a vice grips over to hug my son when he set the record. They stopped the game. And underneath his helmet, I could hear him sniffle a little bit, which told me that he was relieved and he was emotional that that pursuit of the record was over. And then I said to myself, maybe there was pressure on him. And I thought he was as equipped as any kid I've ever seen to deal with that kind of pressure. So what we see on TV with the Ball brothers, who knows what's going on in the head of the kid.
We got callers. I didn't even give out the number, 298-5487. If you want to call up, we're not charging for the callers, are we, Kyle?
That I don't know. We'll figure that out afterwards.
We'll figure it out.
We'll bill you.
All right, Harvey, welcome to Coach's Corner on KHTS 1220 AM and on hometownstation.com. You're our first caller today. Do you have something to say?
First-time caller. Just want to let you know I'm coming down the 5 freeway from Frazier Park, and I was expecting to listen to music just to see what the weather was like in Santa Clarita. And I'm so excited to have this sports talk show on.
No kidding. Thank you. What a nice.
Make sure you drive straight.
Yeah. What a nice call, Harvey. Appreciate the call. This is our show called Coach's Corner. Coach Greg Herrick, Coach Ron Tunick, Kyle Jellings, and of course our sports director here at KHTS, Justin Powell. So, is there anything on your mind you want to talk about?
I want to ask the basketball coach because he's got a big time knowledge on basketball.
Maybe
how far you think UCLA is going to go, Coach, basketball coach?
I think UCLA goes as far as They play North Carolina. I think it's in the the Final 8, and they lose to them. That's how far I think they're going. I think they're great offensively. They're the top scoring team in the country, but they can't guard a dead man. So they're going to have trouble against a pretty talented North Carolina team. They're good enough to beat all those other teams in the tournament. I talked to a guy today who told me he thought they were going to lose in the second round. So I think they've got enough talent to go to the Final 8, but they can't guard anybody.
Before you make your March Madness selection, Kyle and Justin, what do you guys think of UCLA?
No, I agree. They haven't been the last few games. They played a little uninspired. In the last game against Arizona, they played well to end the season, but in the Pac-12 tournament, they didn't look very good. And I agree. If they run into a team like North Carolina, if they get that far, I think there's
Justin,
no way.
what's your take?
I think they'll get upset.
Yeah.
No, really?
Pretty early.
Yeah, I think they're overrated. Harvey, I think they're overrated, so that's my take on it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling in. Drive safe. You're listening to the Coach's Corner on KHTS 1220 AM. Our show brought to you by long-time Santa Clarita Valley businesses, Marty's Flooring. If they've got that, Kyle, they've got that waterproof laminate flooring, which makes a lot of sense. If you've got kids in the house,
yeah,
you do.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, go over to Marty's Flooring, get that waterproof. Ask for the waterproof laminate flooring. Douglas's Furniture, I'm actually a customer, so that's a disclaimer. Quality furniture at a great price. Quality furniture. And let me tell you what, that whole Green family, Doug Green, the owner, 42 years. The longest retail business in Santa Clarita Valley.
Awesome.
Great people. Go over there and say hi to Doug. He'll give you the coach's special. We've created something, but you got to walk in and say the coach sent me. And then, of course, my dentist, Noah's Dental. We're going to take a break, I think, and come right back. The show is called Coach's Corner. Justin, Powell, Kyle Jennings, of course, the famous basketball coach, Coach Greg Herrick, and truly yours, Coach Ron Tunick. Will be right back.